you feeling bullish? So am I. But you can't really get the bull reward if you do what this gentle person did, friends. He sold too early. If you're having a bad day, I sold my Nero 5 days before the Binance listing. It was a 2-month hold. I could have been from $2,000 to $3 million trade if I held it just 5 more days. That's right, 5 more days. So as you get to see, friends, this guy put in 2K into Nero. He turned it into about 60K. So he made like 20 to 30x. And then 5 days later would have been $3 million. Ah, that's the pain, friends, the pain. Man, you're just speechless when you hear things like that, friends. And yes, you know, these types of fears, they will slowly ramp up and then instill this type of ghostly terror in your heart as the bull market goes up and you start to see these green candles appearing, friends. Pop, pop, pop. No, please stop, 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 friends. Look, I know it's been such a long time, but I remember it like it was yesterday. There are going to be coins. If you sell them early, you will be begging for them to stop. I'm not joking. Begging. Please stop, please. Because it's cognitive bias, right? It's kind of like, please, my brain needs to tell me that I did the right thing. So I need you to stop so it looks like I made the right decision. It's painful, friends, and it's coming. It's going to be great. Now, how do you navigate something like that? Well, I've actually left a hint here for everybody. This is a reason why you shouldn't risk selling PulseChain core coins nor their altcoins in a Bitcoin halvening year. Now, I just say PulseChain core coins because they're more fun, but any ecosystem, in Ethereums, the Arbitrums, the Optimisms, no matter where you are, friends, Solana, you get the point, okay? I went back, did all the research. If you did a portfolio review in a Bitcoin halvening year, you're a poopy head. You made the wrong decisions because your review would always lead you to conclude to sell the stuff not moving and exit profit in some other things. And then literally the year after, everything reverses. Everything just goes wildly, wildly insane. I mean, you even see, friends, imagine you reviewed your portfolio. If I go back here, imagine you reviewed your portfolio in 2020 and you noticed that Doge here was not moving. So Doge here was not moving, friends. And then you just, well, I'm reviewing my portfolio. I've got to buy the stuff with adoption. I'm going to buy DeFi stuff. No. Doge ends up going 250x. DeFi stuff stays dead. They make a new DeFi stuff, DeFi 2.0, that ends up moving. Okay, so you really got to understand the zeitgeist of what's going on. Shout out to Ivan on Tech for the zeitgeist. Check this out, friends, as well. This guy replied to him. He bought and sold Dog with Hat before it did a 10,000x. So Dog with Hat did a 40,000x from 100K market cap to 4 billion. This guy, look at this, buying and selling here. Buying and selling. So why do they do that, friends? It's because they have a trader mentality. So it's not that everyone's silly. It's that maybe they have like $20,000 capital. So when they deploy to something, they spend like 8,000. They buy something with 8,000. So if they make a 2x, they're happy. Oh, I've made $8,000. Okay, but it's because they're taking it from their capital. Then they sell back into the stable coin. Well, that's not optimal. Okay, you're gonna feel good on these little blips sometimes, and you're gonna go brag to other people and probably get them trapped with you. But you're not gonna win by the end of the cycle. Mark my words, you're not gonna win. That doesn't work. Okay, what actually works is you got 20 grand. Maybe throw 90% call, 10% lottery, or find like 10 coins that you really believe in, that they're cheap, go 2, wait it out, and then see you later. Okay, pretty much see you later as in wait until the cycle plays out. That is how you have to handle it. And then yes, if one of the coins pops up 4x, you can't take your profit out. What if that's the one that's going to go 100 and make you retire? If you're getting out like 3/4 of your portfolio at that 4x, which is what people do, right? They sell it too early. Now, sometimes the coin comes back down and they're like, oh, I see it round trip, but it's Bitcoin halvening year, friends, not forever. Okay, it's Bitcoin halvening year today, but in a few months, it's not going to be the Bitcoin halvening year anymore. The global liquidity index is probably going to have a word to say for us. Now, I also got to remind you, friends, we've got to play some actual Cranky G music again. Because check out Plan B, friends. Now, Plan B, he blocked me, so I'm going to have to call him Plan Bitch. Now, Plan Bitch said, Only 27 months in the last 13 years generated all the Bitcoin gains. 2013, 2017, 2020, 2021. Don't miss the next leg up. Now, 2020, but it started the very, very last two months of the year. Okay, it's November and December. That's right. So that's 156 months, by the way. So 27 months out of 156. That is all the gains. That's the banana zone stuff, pretty much. That is the year after the Bitcoin halvening. Okay, it's been like 6 to 9 months after the Bitcoin halvening, whatever it is. Then everything starts moving up. That's it. Now, we didn't know, man. You didn't know. It's cycle number 4. Like, obviously, we all thought, man, this cycle thing can't keep going on forever, but the global liquidity index is. And I'm just going to spoil it here for you. Okay, friends, I've explained it for you a few times because you're my baby dolls. I'll explain it for you again. Please, keep your back straight. In a nutshell, why does this 4-year cycle work? It's the global liquidity index. We know that. Okay, but why is it continuing to work? It's because when they did QE 1, 2, and 3, by the time they did the QE 3 and QE infinite in the zombie virus, the market, which is everyone, learned that QE means money printing, which means let's go throw money at everything. And they did that. And that's how we got basically, you know, the Bitcoin mania, the Doge mania in 2021. So the market learned that the money printer activates, okay? So we have something different now. They don't have a QE. Now, QE is ready in case they need it, but they don't actually do QE, friends. It's the exact same money printer, but they just have a different label. Instead of having $3 in one column called QE on their Excel sheet, what the US Fed does is they split it into 3 columns now. 1, 1, 1. TGA, reverse repo, and something else. So, see what I mean? So, it's literally the same thing. They print money. They just call it a different label. Now, you and I understand, based on the global liquidity index, that its money printer go up, but the population doesn't. They don't believe it until the price goes up. When the price goes up, then they go, oh my gosh, you were right the whole time. I've got to get in. That is where we might see, we don't know, maybe next year, maybe the economy slows, friends, with inflation ticking up. And maybe the Fed's like, oh, we can't do the whole thing because they're disrespecting the money. You never know. Something like that might happen, but I guess we'll find out. So there you go, friends. In a nutshell, that's actually why you and I are still early. Because maybe in the next bear market, people are going to say, oh, crap, it's all money printing again. And then the government's going to like work out these new BTFP and these other like 3-letter word agencies. One day, though, that's all going to stop. Because everyone's going to realize they just move money around and it's the same thing. Everyone's eventually going to realize it. And what I mean by realize it, what it actually means, friends, is they keep selling the currency and they go buy stuff. They go buy assets and assets keep going up. And the Fed will call it misallocation of capital. Okay, so don't forget, they do a lot of tricks, friends. And I mentioned this before in a video, but they can do a lot of tricks, friends. One of the examples of a trick they can do is US Fed just calls up Bank of Japan, Bank of Jelly Beans, and the ECB, and they just do like an international swap. So they both print money, they send money to another country, it does basically a loop around, and then it comes back into another account, and they just call it some like weird scheme name, and they're like, oh, this was like a stimulus swap, an import-export extraordinaire connoisseur thing. They'll make up some name, and everyone will think, oh, that's stimulating. Hope it works, fans. Look, we don't want people to be skeptical, because if they're skeptical, they don't start buying back in the economy and start going back to the engine, right, and are working to push things forward, and then we're all screwed. So hopefully it doesn't happen. Friends, check this out, man. Has AI gone too far again? Oh, man, this is obviously Richard Hart fighting with Eric Wall here. It's hilarious. And actually, friends, if you look at it at the end, I'm going to stop it here. On the side profile, he actually looks like Peter McDormatt, which is it right here, friends. This is Peter McDormatt. Actually, friends, it's funny. He's got a new channel here, Mr. Obnoxious. You are being watched. They cover UFOs, UAP tech. I'm sure there's going to be remote viewing. And they talk about a lot of stuff. Mr. Obnoxious, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, back to obviously Hex and Richard Hart. It's kind of funny. So live video of Richard and Eric Wall fighting. I mean, friends, this AI thing's like, hey. It's just, man, AI is crazy. So we can animate pictures. My gosh, how crazy is that going to be? So You can like draw a picture, put it on the net and like spit into AI. Make a video out of this. You know, I want this stick to do. Oh man, that's going to be wild. You know what else is wild, friends? The fact that Hex has been chosen as the new store of value in town. Look closely. You'll see Eric transform into Peter McDormand. So obviously we're all enjoying a lot of the positive price action stuff coming, but I just want to show you this, friends. Look, your friend Sommi here. I was buying Bitcoin at $3,500. Okay, I was buying it back then, and I'll actually show you back then. This used to be my Twitter display avatar. So I started here, and then came back down here. I'm like, oh, we gotta go in. Now I was new to crypto. I didn't know who Tone Gaze was. I didn't know what the hell was going on, bro. All I knew is that something was going on. I was so conflicted because one people were bullish, one people were bearish. Okay, the people's here, and I'm like, you know what? Here's a middle finger to both of yous. I don't know who's right. I'm going to go figure it out myself. And I was very skeptical. I was like, why are people believing this thing? There's a lot of things happening and people are yelling for, why do people bullish? Why do they even think this is bullish? All right. So what compels them? And after doing research, came to the money printer and all these other things, I concluded within that month of October. It was actually a dead month. So friends, this month of October, I loved it because it was death in price action. I mean, Bitcoin did the like worst range ever. Everyone remembers to October 2018. If you ever traded that price action, my God. But I sat there and I just figured everything out. And I realized I made models and stuff of how I looked at the money supply. And I'm like, wow, my lowest estimate for this thing is 42 grand. And it went up to like 70K. It was actually funny, man. My targets ended up working, but I didn't believe in them. But when we went down here, everyone's talking about these lower levels, and I just knew about the money printer. But no matter what I did to try explain to people why this thing is going up and why it's like literally a near certainty, okay, they couldn't believe. And it was because of the red monthly candles. We had just so many red monthly candles as a bear market, okay? So nobody believed me because that 2018 bear market was so horrific. And when we're at 3,500, friends, if we go back here, when we're just here, okay, people even said $10,000 was expensive. They said there's no way this thing ever gets to 10 grand. It's stupid. People telling me, who the hell is not going to sell at 10 grand? Who's going to buy at 10,000? And I remember, I'm not joking, many people said this. Real life people, you know, Discords. I wasn't even on Telegram back then, but, you know, I didn't even know what Twitter was. And I was just seeing on YouTube comments. I was like, this is stupid. Especially Reddit. My gosh, especially Reddit. Fast forward to today now. Okay, so I remember that like yesterday, man. Me buying 3,500, friends. People, remember what they were saying? They were saying, you're buying for 3,500? Dude, there are people that are buying at $50. They're still on side. Thousands of X's, man. They can just keep selling this forever. They kept saying that stuff. But I just believed. Now, in contrast, today, we have a massive $63,000 price. Okay, so it's no longer 3,500. It's almost 20x higher. Okay, so it's just crazy. We're all the way down there. Now we're up here. So we have that. But at the same time, Michael Chad Saylor is yelling for a $13 million Bitcoin. Wild. That is 210x higher than today. All right. So... And he's long, by the way, 16 billion. If you go to Saylor Tracker, friends, saylortracker.com, you actually see it here. His position size is 16 billion. He's only on side 60%. Okay, so he's on side. So he's actually bought 10 billion worth. Can you believe it? Friends, after all that yelling, bro, you're not even up at 2x. You're not even up at 2x. But they believe. Okay, so friends, literally... He's got a bag and he's telling everyone it's going 210x higher. It's just like any other altcoin. What's the difference between him saying it and someone in literally Hex? Hex is a cent and saying it's going to $2. There's no difference. And I've actually made a post here just to throw in here so you know visually what it looks like to see this one day. $2.28. So they're the same thing, man. They're the same thing. One guy's 210x in this coin. And, by the way, if you're curious, what would a $13 million Bitcoin price look today, 213x? If you want to get in a crypto, say 210x higher, you find the square root of that. Okay, it's a square root. Now that number is 14. Okay, it's 14. So what's 14 number represent? It represents how much more people multiplied you need to increase the current user base by. So Bitcoin has, I think, around 320 million people. So if we did 14 number times 320 million people, right, who are in Bitcoin, you get 4.6 billion. So Michael Saylor is basically saying the whole world adopted Bitcoin. Now, of course, there's going to be the bit of money printing and debasing and stuff over time. So obviously, and by the way, in 20 years, the population might have doubled again. So it's more like 40% of the world's using this, 40-50% of the world. But man, that's big, friends. You know, the US dollar right now is 85% dominance. I think the US dollar is 85% based on the volume and the trading. I'm not sure the exact numbers on that, but that's, wow, that's crazy. He's basically saying we flipped half the US dollar. I real hope so, friends. I'm just by comparison, if you want to say, Sommi, thank you for being my friend, you're welcome. How many people do we need to add to Hex to get to $2.28? Right? How many people do we add to Hex, PulseChain, just the whole PulseChain community? 200,000 people? Okay. We need to add that 14 number, multiplied by 14. So 200,000 people times 14, you know, you got to get to 2.8 million. So that's achievable, in it. That's very achievable, actually. Of course, there might be a lot of people come in, very lower income class and stuff, but I'm just showing you, friends, you see, if you want to do these things, you can find out how much you need to increase that user base by. So Bitcoin's got 320 million people in already. 320 million people. If you add 1 million people into Bitcoin, you literally do nothing to the price. Nothing. They don't feel it. They need big Wall Street money to come in, okay? Based off the network. You see? And you might say, okay, but what if the big whale buys here by himself? Yeah, but the big whale doesn't buy unless there's value there, which is the people there. You get it? That's why they're one in the same. That's why trust me, it's really weird. I don't know how it approximates, but it does. It just all works out in the end, okay? You can't cheat it. You can't cheat it. So 1 million people in Hex makes it go 25x. We got to add up PulseX, but you get the point, friends. You see, 1 million people, man. 1 million people. It does nothing to Bitcoin now. Look, man, the truth is as well, everyone is bored at the thought of Bitcoin only stopping at a whopping $100,000 price. So think about the 100K number. Like if I go back and I just draw this for you, I say, oh, wow, we go to 100K and then it's over. You're like, oh, man, what a letdown. But just look where we started. I was at 3,500. And now 100K is a letdown. But 200K is great. What if in Hex it becomes the same? What if in a Hex $1 is boring, $2 is a win? What if the same is PulseChain? What if in PulseChain you can do the numbers of that? What if like 15x day one sack is boring and then 30x day one sack is great? So the point is, you get in early, you at least get to participate in this upside, friends. So in truth though, you got to see this. The crowd thought $3,500 was expensive, but now $100,000 is too cheap. Hex will one day reach 20 cents again. Now, I don't know. EHEX, PHEX combined. I just drew the big green candles up here. See this? Got all these target levels to get up to. So once it's at 20 cents, there will be people buying it. Because look, here's the thing, man. They're not stupid for buying up there. Because they have confirmed that the cult won't let this thing die. But they pay a higher price for it. But that's the price they pay for the confirmation. That's why if you look for confirmation, friends, you're always getting a step further along basically the price target journey. So for example, best example, right? If you waited for the US Fed to confirm the rate cuts, all right, you're buying Bitcoin at $63,000. Whereas when they were still hiking, it was down at $20,000. You see? So there's a big deviation, 3x deviation, you see? So if you're waiting for these confirmations, yeah, confirmations make you feel better. It's like a traffic signal, right? Like, okay, green light, green light, green light. But you're getting it less return. That's why who makes the most? It's people who buy when there's zero confirmations. They just fully believe. When people, with Hex down 99%, like still is, Richard's not streaming, corrupt SEC attacks, all of these. PulseChain, what's going on? Friends, that's why my biggest gift to the PulseChain community, one of them I've done like heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps. You're all welcome. Biggest gift is me educating everyone about the PulseChain dilution effect. Because, see, you know when I first started speaking about it, I got abused because they called it FUD. But now, with the lens of history, it was a gift. Why is it a gift? It's because people were in the midst of corrupt SEC attacks and all these nasty things happening, all these friends. So you zoom in, or in the midst of all this destruction, all this other poopiness happening down here. People wanted to know, why is this chain launched? It's meant to be cheap and pump and all of these things. Why isn't it pumping? What's actually happening? Why did we sell off mega hard? Even worse than many coins they'd call scams. Celsius, Luna. Why did we go down that much? Why are we worse than other things that literally do nothing? Why? And I gave you the answer. I said, well, in the previous cycle, we have basically a circle of community people in here, and we have not added more people since then. We've stayed here. So we basically have one pizza, and feeling like pizza now. We have one pizza, and we just chopped up the pizza into different pieces. So if you look at each individual piece, it looks like everyone got destroyed. But if you add them all up, the price is still garbage. It is still garbage. The price is still very, very low, but it starts to help you understand, okay, we all got diluted, right? But then obviously I would have to go on and say, well, you can't, like people say, oh, but Richard didn't plan for this, or he did. It's not about that, man. It's about the people coming in. And then you got to see the meme coin cycle and Solana come and take over. And once again, further remove the product market fit likability from DeFi stuff out here. However, now we come to the place of friendship, friends. So obviously we can dream of this $2.28. Why? Hex's biggest competitor, rival, was the US Fed raising the rates. That's like all the altcoins, which is what I've shown you. Now, as the rates go from this 5.5, now they're down to 5. Then they're going to go down to 4.5, and then 4, down to 3.5, 3. When they're going to go down to that, it's going to make it more competitive for people to seek yield and to take on more risk. Now, how high we go, no one knows. And in the distance of time, we don't know as well. But now you're getting to understand the scope of what's happening. So because we understand it, we know all we got to do is believe. Make sure you like, subscribe, baby, and all friends. The market has chosen. Catch you in the next one.